5 Power 5 schools in that category, but he's building, and this is a big opportunity for his team today.
Underway in Waco as James Akinjo, the product out of Oakland, will bring the ball up the floor. In his first year, you talk about transfers, that's how Baylor is trying to get back to the NCAA tournament this year with a lot of fresh blood wearing the green and gold. And straight to the rim, just would not fall for Matthew Meyer.
You saw a good look of how Baylor's going to attack Stanford. They are a big, long team. Going to try to bring some of those big guys out. A lot of movement away from the basket. They don't want it clogged up in the middle because these guys do have size.
They were looking for Ingram in the corner. Couldn't get the ball to him just yet. As you see the starting 5 for each team looking for a transition. Oh, a little bit of good fortune leads to the flush from Kendall Brown.
Get a good look there too, Lincoln, about how Baylor is going to defend Stanford. They're going after their guards. They're going to put high pressure around the perimeter. They forced 21 steals the other night. They're looking for that kind of performance today.
Ingram with the reverse. Again, the freshman out of Dallas's St. Mark's Academy.
Said before the game, positionless kind of guy. He can play with his back to the bucket, facing it. He can shoot it. And they're going to rely heavily on him today.
Ingram showed up as an 18-year-old already with a collegiate senior's body. You look at that frame as he denies access along the baseline. Triple is good for L.J. Cryer.
Get a good look at what Brown can do. He's second on the team in assists, and it's inside out, not outside in. Got the ball into the lane on the dribble penetration, and then he's looking to the perimeter, and it was just catch and shoot for Cryer.
L.J. is better than 50% from beyond the arc to start the year. That was his 10th three-pointer. And moments ago, the transition defense leads to points.
There it is, another steal. That's one thing this team has been great at, is forcing turnovers and then getting points off those turnovers. Off to a good start here.
After the stop on one end, looking to stretch the early advantage in front of their home crowd. Found the open shooter. That's your preseason freshman of the year in the Big 12, and you like the early results from Brown.
Yeah, Cryer just returned the favor. That time it was Cryer into the lane, drawing the defense, drive, draw, deliver to Brown, catch and shoot.
Baylor has made its last 3 threes now, or last 3 field goals, pardon me. Meanwhile, we haven't seen Stanford score since the reverse from Ingram.
Bears going to want Stanford to dribble the basketball a lot because they're really good in their half-court sets. When they're dribbling, they're not running anything.
Shot clock down to 3. And a decent look, but it won't fall. Extra pass pays off, and there's your highest percentage shot of the day from Maxime Reynaud.
Yeah, Bears really good at the offensive glass, and they sort of assumed they were going to get the defensive rebound there. And they all went off to the races, and the Bears were depleted. Stanford picked it up, got an easy bucket out of it.
Reynaud, the freshman from France, helps us coin the phrase a Zoom recruit. During the pandemic, obviously hard to travel internationally to see players in person. You just hoped that highlight reel really represented what they're capable of.
And this is a long-range 3 from a 6'10 guy. These guys are long, but they can all shoot it. They're all very skilled. That one doesn't go in. Bears will get it back.
Moments ago, this one certainly went in for Reynaud.
Yeah, that's a long rebound. Those things are hard to track down. And once the rebound was picked up by Stanford, the Bears were broken down defensively. Stanford had numbers, did a nice job finding the right guy, and got the easy bucket.
If they can find Thamba, he's going to come out and help along the perimeter. How much did Baylor lose in terms of production from last year's national championship run? Only a combined 30 starts returned this year for Baylor. All 30 of those starts were Flo Thamba.
Yeah, and 80% of their assists are now elsewhere. Nice backdoor and a pass from O'Connell.
A tremendous feed from the point guard out of New York.
They're set to bring in Sohan and Chachua. It's one thing about this year's version of Baylor, they've got some depth and they use it.
Meyer. Still plenty of time on the shot clock, sitting at 10.
Well, that's where the ball needs to be. Akinjo broke it down a little short on the shot, but another rebound. This is a really good rebounding Stanford team because they are so long and physical. They've been able to control the glass first part of the game.
Ingram with the dribble, probably among the favorites to be Rookie of the Year in the Pac-12. Already has one weekly accolade from a couple weeks ago to start the season. little hesitation, draws 3 defenders. That means a man's open. That man is Michael O'Connell.
Well, at that time he got Meyer with a little head and shoulder fake to run past him. Meyer's out of the play when that happens, and O'Connell just took a dribble, got balanced, and gave his team a lead, 9-8.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's a 7-0 run for Stanford over the past couple of minutes while Baylor's gone cold. There's the Cardinal, the lead. Nobody picked him up. As a result, Kendall Brown puts it down.
And that's what Akinjo does best. He loves it in the middle of the lane, right in the heart of the defense. And it's get it in and kick it out, inside out. And when the Bears do that, they're pretty good. They've made some threes in this game, and they're up 2.
Brown, a 5-star recruit, a freshman in his own right. Early break in this one. The 9th-ranked Baylor Bears in
What they're looking to do is play good people early. The Bears have forced 3 turnovers. We said before the game they were going to go after the Stanford guards, and they've forced them to cough it up 3 times. Bears with 5 of their 11 points in the game off of those 3 turnovers.
Brown with the dribble has 8 of the Bears' 11 points so far. Tries to share the wealth, instead falls in the lap of Ingram.
It's a guy that, again, plays very comfortably way away from the basket. 6'9", 230, but you can put him about any place and feel comfortable. Bears with a lot of pressure out on the perimeter, making Stanford dribble the ball. When they're dribbling it, they're not running anything.
Kicks it out to the corner and just would not go down for Delaire. And a rare rebound here early on for Baylor. That's one area Stanford's been controlling this ball game.
Nice penetration up the floor. Over to Akinjo. Akinjo wants to get in the lane. Ball screen from Chachua to try to get there, but Stanford doing a nice job cutting that penetration off.
Yeah, nothing there available for Akinjo, the former Georgetown Hoya and Arizona Wildcat. When it's all said and done, Baylor will never get a shot off.
That's right, and that's back-to-back turnovers by the Bears coming out of that break. And so they've done a nice job taking care of the ball. There it is, really good positioning on the floor. I think that was O'Connell. That's hard to do. I mean, Kendall Brown is just quick as a cat, first step, deceptively quick, and to make that play is impressive.
O'Connell took that charge. His first reaction was immediately dart over to the coaching staff and whisper something to them. He thinks he sees something developing that Stanford can take advantage of.
Yeah, that's what you want your point guard, somebody who's thinking about the game and strategizing. He's seeing things, experiencing the game that maybe his coaches aren't seeing. That was a nice charge.
This time has the ball stripped away and then commits the foul after Akinjo able to swipe it. Akinjo, one of your newcomers for Baylor this year, the senior.
Well, that's a consistent theme. You're going to see a lot of pressure. The Bears trying to pressure every pass. But one thing Baylor did really well last year is on-the-ball defense. And it's been a bit of a gap between this year and last year, but that's really going to be a point of emphasis in this one. That's the 4th turnover against Stanford early.
Akinjo's the most familiar guy they saw on the footage of Baylor. Talking about Stanford, they saw plenty of him when he was an Arizona Wildcat. And the drought continues for Baylor.
Yeah, all conference a year ago in the Pac-12, so he is a familiar opponent for Stanford.
Delaire looking for help, still 16 to shoot. A low post feed is a turnover. Akinjo with the steal.
Oh, what a play. What a play. Akinjo in the lane, in traffic, looks left, kicks it right. And you know, something's underappreciated is Sohan's ability to understand it's coming to him and catch it and finish.
Akinjo with eyes in the back of his head, able to find the Brit Sohan.
What a play. That's Akinjo at his very best. Here's more ball pressure, almost another steal.
Stanford hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes during that same stretch. 3 turnovers. Baylor trying to force another, but this time the foul on Sohan.
There's backcourt help, backside help from Akinjo. Up the floor he goes. And Sohan, like you said, Lincoln, eyes in the back of Akinjo's head. I think Sohan understands that. So he's chasing the play, and he understands if he makes himself a target, gets the ball to the rim, he's going to get it. Nice play from Akinjo, who's got a couple assists already.
So the foul will reset things here for Stanford. A great early test for both these teams. First time for Stanford to leave the state. Well, Baseline stroke just won't go down for Jones. Second chance points, no. How about third time being the charm, the tap back from Jaden Dallaire.
Yeah, these are two really good offensive rebounding teams. Stanford and Baylor both in the top 10 nationally in limiting opponents offensively. Stanford is 7th, Baylor is 3rd. Good look at how well Stanford goes to the glass there.
Dallaire, last year's Pac-12 Most Improved Player of the Year.
That we'll know a lot more about come January, but got to do it, so there's the preseason pick.
Stanford has as many turnovers as field goals, and yet they were within 2 points before that shot goes down for Baylor.
Yeah, and that is the 6th made bucket for the Bears on 6 assists. So Bears doing a great job sharing the basketball. Really the hallmark of the team a year ago, and they still share it this year.
L.J. Cryer knocking that one down, getting the starting nod for the first time this year as the sophomore.
Lots of pressure.
Well, there's a Walker double dribble, the turnover there. Now more turnovers, 6 than field goals, 5. Lucas Kasunas gives it back over to Baylor.
Yeah, that's a good point, Lincoln. And Baylor now with 7 points off of those turnovers, so roughly half of their points have been from Stanford turnovers. Bears knew coming in they were going to put a lot of pressure on the Cardinals. So far, so good.
Kick out, extra pass, sets up this look from Meyer. Meyer in his final year from just down the road in Austin went to Westlake High School that produced probably most notably Drew Brees.
So Meyer has not shot the ball well from the three-point line this season, but that's about zero cause for concern for the Baylor coaching staff because he's earned where he is and has proven what he can do. And there are other guys that can shoot it down as well, so he'll find the range at some point, but it's really been a struggle for him out of the gate.
He's one of Scott Drew's 3 men coming in this year on the Naismith watch list. Not too shabby. Open look from the corner. Just won't go down as the rebound hauled in by Spencer Jones.
Again, a really nice job rebounding. That's a 9-4 rebounding advantage for Stanford, and that's huge.
Just about midway through the opening half between Stanford and Baylor.
Lots of pressure. You can see the long guys. It's really impressive to watch Stanford's length out on the perimeter. Now that's where they want the ball, right there.
Flo Thamba staying glued to his man, Reynaud. The whistle will go the way of the visitors.
You're going to see that a lot. Stanford just kind of goes side to side until they can get a post touch. That time it was Reynaud, but that's where they really want the ball. They are so long that they feel like deep in the post they've got an advantage. Great example here. Thamba right on him, forces a fall away. Maybe a little bit more on the release.
But your second foul on Kendall Brown.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it was on Brown, not on Thamba. Thamba has become a great interior defender, leads the team in block shots this year.
First free throw attempted by the freshman this year, Issa Silva. Silva actually knows his current teammate Harrison Ingram quite well. Those two butted heads in the AAU circuit quite often growing up. And let's see if we have a lane violation and get to do this again.
Yeah, it's a Kinjo. Yeah, Stanford is going to need points wherever they can get them from. One thing Baylor has not done well is get to the line. They've only taken 40 free throws in 3 games. Second free throw's good, so a gift from Akinjo to Stanford.
Silva's free throw shooting percentage just skyrocketed up 50 points with that make. It's early.
It's early.
Akinjo. Cryer step inside the arc, will kick it over into the arms of Dallaire.
You know, probably one dribble too many there. This defense by Stanford is awfully good. You can get fooled by their length. They can all defend out on the perimeter.
Lost one defender, able to send that one up and over, and Kendall Brown, not playing like a guy with 2 fouls, went right at it, but Angel knocks it down.
Yeah, and that's the 10th point in the paint for Stanford in this game. That's where they live. They don't make a lot of threes. They don't want a lot of threes. They've been able to manufacture points deep in the lane.
Scott Drew keeping Kendall Brown out there for his offense. Leading scorer still with 8. Kinjo goes inside, Thamba to the rim.
Yeah, great play. Nice feed from Akinjo, and that's been a bit of a growing edge for Flo Thamba when he catches it that close to the rim to make sure he finishes, either getting fouled, getting to the free throw line, or like there, finishing the play over the rim.
My first notes written down for Thamba are elite screener, but he can score the ball as well.
He can't, but it's a good point. He is an elite screener. What a brand, right? And screening the basketball, I am elite.
Ingram, the pride of Dallas, that one won't go here in Waco. Baylor almost coughing it up. 2 men fighting for the ball.
Akinjo is rarely out of control. Always quick, never in a hurry. Another nice pass to Thamba. He's got to get that one. There it is. Great pass. Back-to-back assists, Akinjo to Thamba.
Thamba out of the Congo. Went to school here in the States in Virginia. Put a little English on that one.
8 assists for the Bears on 8 made baskets. Thamba wanted the charge. May have been entitled to it, doesn't get it.
And Ingram was briefly left open and had a chance to go up strong.
That's a warning, I think.
Footed from Brandon Angel sent us the other way. You're talking about Stanford losing Zaire Williams, another top 10 pick into the NBA. And a nice stroke from the corner from Noah Tates, the pride of Las Vegas. He was 3 for 3 against Valpo the other night from beyond the arc.
Well, they're 2 of 6 now from the three-point line. Akinjo shot blocked, back-to-back blocks for Stanford on Baylor's first 2 possessions coming out of the break. But you look at what Stanford's been able to do offensively to score. Helps to get those threes, but what they've really done well is get to the offensive glass. They got 4 offensive rebounds and 5 second chance points.
So we are level with a little over 7 minutes still to go in the opening half. Third ever meeting between these 2 programs. The first one at Stanford. The second one was one I think we would have agreed to again, was in Hawaii. And a chance for second chance points here for Cryer and company.
That's a smart play by Chachua. Wasn't going to be able to pull the offensive rebound down cleanly, so he just kicked it out to half court. And Cryer gives the Bears new life. That long rebounder, the tip out from Chachua, got it to Cryer, and he just did the rest of the work.
New life, a new lead, courtesy of L.J. Cryer making his first start of his career.
There's the pressure again. Well, I tell you, once you're a ball handler and you pull the ball up, kill your dribble, well, there aren't many passing lanes. Baylor's just going to make it really difficult to get into any sort of rhythm offensively.
We'll stop and pop from the baseline, and all of a sudden Noah Tates is finding his rhythm.
Yeah, back-to-back buckets, one of those a 3 out of that last time out.
He qualifies as a microwave type scorer. He can get hot in a hurry.
Well, he's just what the doctor ordered in this one. They needed a stroke from the three-point line. One guy we're not talking about today, Lincoln, is Adam Flagler, who is probably not going to play. Broke his hand in preseason workouts, and he aggravated that a little bit in one of the games earlier. And I was asking one of the coaches about that, and they said, we can't win the Big 12 today, but we could lose the Big 12 today if you put a guy like Flagler in there and hurt it to the point where he's not going to be able to be productive. So they're holding him out.
And he came off the bench last year for 28 ball games, 13 points in that national championship, and Baylor able to answer with a triple. And that's our difference right now.
Yep, Cryer with a 3, first one of the ball game, and Bears continue to just share the ball unbelievably well. 8 assists on 9 made buckets.
Tates has the last 2 field goals for Stanford. No shot available here. The turnover, the Chachua. And on the other end, it's James Akinjo with the punctuation.
He's so comfortable. He's got traffic coming. I mean, there's going to be a collision at the rim, but he's able to move his body to finish the shot. Wanted contact, didn't get the call.
That has sparked the crowd here at the Farrell Center. And we're going to have a tie-up as officials make sure this does not escalate.
And here's the steal. Chachua very carefully looking to where the ball needs to go. He's not going to dribble it. And Akinjo, again, all the way to the rim. Finishes that over a 6'9" guy. And that's not the first time Akinjo has done that. Then at the other end, high pressure again from the Bears on the perimeter. They get a loose ball, a scramble for it. alternate possession will go to Stanford. You talk about Lincoln igniting the crowd. That little series, that scramble on the floor for the ball got the crowd energized.
Well, usually Chamwa Chachua ignites the crowd with some alley-oops being on the receiving end. That time he picked up the dime. 5 to go here in this opening half. And almost a clean strip of Kinjo. Boy, we used to always hear big men being told, don't bring that ball down. You negate any advantage from your height. Almost made the mistake there.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and there it is. Nice play. That's a tough pass out of there, and he never, you're right, never got it up shoulder length or shoulder height to keep it away from Akinjo. That's the only thing Akinjo can do is try to grab the ball or foul him, and he did both.
Max Merle, regular contributor last year as a freshman, back as a sophomore for Stanford. About half the starts this year. Stanford comes into Waco riding the momentum of back-to-back wins over San Jose State and Valpo. It was a slow start against the Spartans, but they've been clicking ever since. Merle able to knock down the second one.
Yeah, and on the road in particular, you got to make sure you take advantage of all the gifts you get. Stanford now 3 of 4 at the free throw line.
Merle's only missed 1 free throw over the past season and a half. Dohan lost his defender, goes straight to the rim.
Yep, again, got the defender, little head and shoulder fake, off the floor, and when you're off the floor as a defender, you're done. And the defense was broken down. Sohan was able to get it to the rim and finish.
Freshman from England, high school in Germany, and of course that means member of the Polish national team. Good job, Stanford, getting back, not allowing a transition bucket for Baylor.
That's a good point. Baylor's going to score a lot in transition. You got to get back and make sure that initial surge up the floor is a no-go.
Shot clock at 10. A great feed from Sohan inside, down low to the big man from Cameroon.
Yeah, and Chachua did a tremendous job owning the low block. I mean, he knew he had body position. He was begging for the ball, held his position, caught and finished in one motion.
Did everything but dial the country code for that international connection here in Waco. And this foul is going to go against Baylor and keep the ball on this end.
As much as they want to this season, and in this game they have yet to get there. Second free throw won't go, but that is now 4 of 6 for Stanford here in the first half.
Akinjo with 6 assists already here in the opening half. Who will he dial up this time? Calls zone number from the elbow. But 1 and done. As Cardinal not allowing a second chance opportunity. Spencer Jones with the rebound.
Yeah, I mean, he's the runner of the ship. As a point guard, that's really your job, is to facilitate, orchestrate. Done a great job of that. That's one of the reasons Baylor has made 5 of its last 6.
Shot clock at 10. And a walk.
That's really good defense by Bonner. Tate is a guy that really gave Stanford a boost off the bench. He had back-to-back buckets, one of those a 3. And Bonner came at him and was very quick to not get off his feet and keep Tate's, they made Tate create his own shot rather than just have a catch and shoot.
Well, the development today was L.J. Cryer getting his first collegiate start. He already has 10 points, trying to make it a baker's dozen. That one won't go down, but he's already halfway to those 20-point performances we've seen in the last 2 outings off the bench.
Yeah, he can really score, and he's got the green light to shoot it.
Oh, great pass as a couple of the bigs able to go high-low, and ultimately the finish from Dallaire.
Yeah, and that's Dallaire at about 6'9", on Bonner at about 6'2". And Stanford did a nice job finding him cutting to the rim, saw the mismatch and got it to him.
Typically a 50% chance each night Dallaire is going to be your leading scorer for Stanford. As Baylor unable to knock down the last 2, but offensive rebound ultimately for the Bears, courtesy of Dale Bonner. And goaltending. Just a little contact around the rim. That'll count the bucket for Baylor.
Couple of quick shots by Baylor. You know, that 5 out of 5 sequence that we just talked about. Here's Akinjo into the lane, creates his own shot over length. That's about a 7-footer. And just basket interference. Bears a little bit stymied here, but it's because they've gotten away from sharing the ball. Well, when they're creating high percentage shots, they are awfully hard to guard. But a couple of quick threes, shots that you can get later in the possession, keep your team from being able to get the shots you really want.
Stanford has made 4 of their last 5 shots. The problem is too many possessions where they don't even get a shot off. They have 8 turnovers compared to 10 field goals this half. And no trip to line for Ingram, who tries to draw the contact down low. Instead, technically, not sure if a shot there for Stanford.
Yeah, that's a good play by a really good player. 6'9", 230 Ingram. Here he goes to the rim. Sohan is there, did a nice job keeping his arms back. It was a little bit of body to body, but he did a nice job making sure that when he did get a piece of the ball, he got it without creating enough contact to get Ingram to the free throw line.
Was able to get the shot off, but Sohan swats it away.
Going to be a foul, Stanford. Bears trying to get somehow to the free throw line. Haven't been there yet. A minute and a half left to go in the half. Yeah, go ahead.
So often talking to coaches when they bring international freshmen over, they know it's going to be at least a year before they get used to the physicality. But Sohan's been playing with that Polish national team system against grown men throughout Europe. That's made him a little bit more ready here for the NCAA game.
Yep, and you're right. It's there's usually a learning curve when you bring a freshman in, but I think with all the freshmen you're seeing on the floor, not really the case, particularly Ingram, Sohan, and Brown for Baylor. Those guys are game ready and have produced like you would expect them to.
Sohan, 4 points, a pair of boards, a pair of assists already. Foul on Jones was his second. An air ball that Ingram is able to collect on the baseline.
Again, he's got the green light to shoot those. The shot they're looking for.
Just trailing by 2 scores. Trying to chip away before halftime. And this will be a foul ultimately against Chachua. A little late to the ball.
Chachua comes in averaging 10 rebounds a game, and that's something that he and Flo Thamba have done really well. They've played that low post position almost by committee. They've given the Bears rim protection. They've given them physicality along the baseline, particularly with Everyday John, as they call him. High motor. He's 6'8", 250. Got a 7-foot wingspan.
Clarify the foul certainly on Ingram and Stanford there.
Chachua turns that one down. It's not his role. Gets it to the right spot. Ooh.
5 to shoot. And are they going to negate the bucket because of the offensive goaltending? And there's a shot where Akinjo loses 2 points because Chachua goes airborne, taps the glass.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little confused. Is this a pass? Is that a shot? What am I supposed to do? Because typically, Akinjo is a pass first, shoot second kind of guy. So Chachua is going, well, I'm going to touch it, but it's looking pretty good. And Bears come away empty.
For good reason.
Yep.
That's a little 4-point turnaround right there. Delaire with the most recent 2 for Stanford.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Stanford was down 7 with 3.5 minutes to go in the half. They've cut it to 4 now with 22 seconds and counting. It's a nice run for the Cardinal to finish the half.
Baylor can basically hold for the final shot here despite the discrepancy between game clock and shot clock. Just put a little arc under that final look. 2-score ball game, it appears, going into halftime. Let's see if this changes that. Another floater from McKinnon between the Cardinal and the Bears. Bears trying to stay unbeaten here in non-conference play. Only blemish for Stanford. Again, a loss at Santa Clara, 88-72 in their first road test. Nice no-look feed and a late blocking foul coming in, undercutting Thamba. These will be the first free throws today for Baylor.
Yeah, it's a nice play. I mean, coming out of the half, making Stanford defend. They're spreading the defense out. Great ball movement over to Cryer. Cryer draws 2, finds Thamba. The weak side help a little late getting there, and Thamba's going to be able to hit a couple of free throws. He's been good at the free throw line, 4 of 5 from the line this season.
That's the 3rd foul on Spencer Jones.
That's a loss. I mean, that's another guy who can make threes. In fact, some of the things you read about Stanford basketball is that he is one of the best three-point shooters in the Pac-12. He's not doing them any good on the bench right now. A couple of misses by Thamba. Didn't expect that.
Was 4 for 5 coming into tonight. Thamba last year about 66% from the charity stripe. Yeah, that's an understatement about Jones's shooting ability. He hit 81 threes as a freshman to announce his presence in the Pac-12. Ingram. The ball stripped away, but Ingram gets it back. 7 to shoot. And a whistle comes in, a foul on Meyer after he thought he had come up with a stop.
Yeah, nice look there at Ingram's ability to pass the basketball. He's got it. He's in traffic, retrieves it here. And just the presence and awareness to understand that guy's open and he needs it. Little bounce pass got it to him. Nice play by Ingram.
So Reynaud at the line. Reynaud, who's come up through the French national team system.
You know, in a game that's played at this pace, every point matters, and the Bears have left 2 on the table at the other end. Couple of free throw misses by Famba. And Reynaud needs to get a couple down here, gets 1 of 2.
Mentioned he was a, quote, Zoom recruit, but they've been really pleased with his production. Almost 10 points a ball game, 6 rebounds as a freshman.
Yeah, he's 7'1", and he can really move, and he's comfortable out there.
Great bounce speed, no place to go for Thamba except up, and fires it through.
Another assist for Akinjo, but that's something they worked on at halftime. Each of their first 2 possessions, that's the look they went to. They got Thamba at the line. That time they get him a dunk.
Baylor's matched its largest advantage of the ball game at 7. And Dallaire was being held by Akinjo, but on the opposite end, we are dropping dimes in Central Texas here along the Brazos.
You know, it's interesting. Akinjo knows what he's going to do with that ball. The nanosecond he catches it, he didn't hold on to it. He almost just redirected the ball down to the baseline.
It's like our producer, Kurt Dykert, setting us up for replays.
Redirect.
You don't see it coming, but you know it's going to end well. Transition opportunity, a little stop and pop. A rebound again by Dallaire.
You know, it's unusual to see Akinjo stop at the three-point line. Now, he's a good three-point shooter, but the excitement with him normally happens in the lane at the finish.
A little elbow to the face for the efforts of Kendall Brown. Thamba, bodies everywhere. A little hesitation, and look at the maturity there for Matthew Meyer, the senior. First bucket of the ball game for Meyer.
And that's double-digit turnovers for Stanford, and the Bears have turned those turnovers now into 11 points. You're right, first bucket for Meyer. He'd like to get on track.
Well, every fan who couldn't be in the bubble for the national championship game on their feet here at the Farrell Center. Stripped away by Cryer. Cryer. And just one bite at the apple before the rebound by Ingram, and a nice job by Meyer getting in there for the tie-up when everybody else had started to retreat.
Yeah, really good play by Meyer. That's the kind of play that he makes. He's a guy that will attack the rebounder if he feels like there's a play to be made there.
Matthew Meyer had played 93 games in his Baylor career coming into this year, all of them off the bench, but here he is, finally a senior, making every start of his final campaign.
Yeah, and he's pressed a little bit, I think, in the first 3 games that Baylor has played. There's a lot expected of him. He's a preseason All-Big 12 first-team performer, and the bar is raised, but the thing is, he's raised it.
He almost didn't get to start this year if he had gone to the NBA. He was invited to the Combine last year despite never starting in his collegiate career.
Yeah, he's got NBA skills. He's got NBA athleticism, 6'9", 225. He's put on that weight so that he's got the ability to play in traffic and done a nice job. Just like he would like to get a 3.
Hand flashing right in front of the face, able to alter the shot. There's already 3 minutes having evaporated off the second half clock. Baylor with its largest lead at 9.
Another turnover. Neither team has found a groove offensively here in the second half. Stanford scored just a bucket. I mean, just 1 point at the free throw line.
Silva out to Beskin. They'll work it around.
Nice deflection by Meyer. There's a push.
Offensive foul. Another turnover for the visitors.
So far, the defense has outkicked the offense in the second half. We're just 3.5 minutes in. But there's Cryer. That is hard to do. I mean, man on man, ball on the ball defense, and to be able to stop a drive like that, get in position enough to take the charge in the open floor, mano a mano, is hard to do. Nice job there by Cryer.
Last 2.5 minutes here for Stanford. No field goals, 4 turnovers. Sohan.
How do you defend that? 6'9", 230 into the lane. He's looking for those kind of isolations. The Bears now up 11 and looking to separate a little bit.
As the last 6 points have gone the way of Baylor. Looking for another stop here. And they'll get bodies tangled up. This is going to be a foul against the Bears on L.J. Cryer. It'll stay here with Stanford. And as a moment ago, again, the pride of England, the freshman able to knock one down.
Yeah, you got to feel like when he gets it that close to the rim, if he's being guarded by just one guy, he's going to be able to get a bucket as he did there, or a couple of free throws. This guy is another one of the freshmen we've seen on the floor today. Both teams who are Division I ready, no question about it.
One of a couple of 4-star recruits to go with a 5-star recruit here in Kendall Brown.
Turnover and bucket at the other end. Bears have now extended to 13, and the crowd, the home crowd here in the Farrell Center, off the seats and looking for the Bears to extend even more.
You saw those turnovers. It's led to 15 points for the Bears. Your margin essentially in this ball game. Offensive rebound for Ingram among 3 Bears, and transition the other way. And the odd man down the court for Stanford was Issa Silva, with 4 white jerseys streaking his way. For now, he stopped them, though a whistle. Free throws coming up on the other side of the break. Baylor with its largest lead of the night, up a baker's dozen here at home. As Kendall Brown pours in 2 more of a game-high 10.
This is Mountain Dew. A rush of crisp and refreshing flavor. Delivering a bold citrus kick. Do the Dew.
I am advancing research at a nanoscale. My work is for a cleaner source of energy, for every forest threatened by acid rain, for every patient in need of a precise diagnosis.
Baylor University is fearlessly
State, and really kind of follows the same sort of path to Baylor that Adam Flagler followed. First free throw is off.
Yeah, Bonner was probably going to be the 5th guard this year, but with the injury early to Langston Love, the freshman out of the Montverde Academy that's produced so many lottery picks, he's seeing more minutes. Opportunity here.
He is, and that is just the 4th free throw, is that right? Yeah, 4th free throw for Baylor, 1 of 4 there. If there's been an Achilles heel for this team in the first 4 games of the season, that's it. Got to get to the line, and when you get there, to make them.
Yeah, just 2 players have gotten to the line. It's all been here in the second half. More of the same. A little frustration as Bonner is plowed over after slamming on the brakes.
Lincoln, that is 6 turnovers in the last 4 minutes and 8 seconds for Stanford. Another one there, just not really tight with the ball. Baylor opportunistic. Bonner retrieves it and then gets fouled. Baylor in the midst of a 9-0 run, and a bunch of those points have been fueled by turnovers.
Nobody picks him up, and ultimately the shot a little too strong there from Sohan. Though unable to find points off turnover that time around.
You know, and Stanford needs firepower, more offensive firepower than they've had. I think it's got to come largely from Ingram. They're down 43-29. Another turnover.
Another bite at the apple for Sohan.
Turnover, point off turnover, and you look up and you're down 16. They're starting to separate with pressure. We knew it was coming from the get-go, but it's taken its toll now on the Cardinal.
Tate's on the dribble, loses it. And this will stay with Stanford. Shot clock down to 9.
Yeah, we talked about the firepower. Stanford needs Ingram to get into double digits. I mean, he's got to pick it up offensively. Now, that is much easier said than done because he is a marked man. He's the guy that could change the game a little bit offensively, more so than the other 4 on the floor, but he has been stymied.
Well, Kinjo's back on, as I guess Scott Drew is not buying into Jeremy Sohan bringing the ball up the floor every possession like he did a moment ago. And Stanford back to the line.
Yeah, good weak side help from Bonner, just a little bit late getting there. Stanford team's a pretty good passing team. Now, you say that after they've committed 15 turnovers and counting, but when it works, it really does work. It's just that pressure. You know, one thing about playing Baylor, you're going to get guarded in a way that you're not accustomed to being guarded, particularly in the pre-conference race. I think that's been the case today for Stanford.
Coach Haas spent part of his offseason in Latvia with the U.S. U19 World Cup team that won gold, went 7-0 against their competition. Coached a familiar player on that team, Harrison Ingram. So they got to build their chemistry before officially joining forces wearing the Cardinal.
Well, you know, the nice thing about Baylor is, from a Baylor perspective, you've got 4 or 5 guys who can get 25 or 30 for you on a given night. They just can. Stanford really doesn't have that group of guards, so they've got to play a little more controlled. They want the game in the 50s or 60s, and they've lost a little bit of control of this one.
Step out for Brown, thought better of it. Opposite corner, good for Kinjo.
On the assist from Brown, that is assist number 13 in the game for Baylor. Baylor had 33 assists in a game earlier this season. Nicholls State it was.
If you're keeping track of Stanford points here in the second half, most of you still have 7 fingers to work with. Drawing the contact and a trip to the line. Baylor's outscored Stanford 14-3 since they both reemerged from the locker room.
Yeah, and Stanford still looking for some sort of rhythm. They had it a little bit in the first half, but they've lost the pace of the game. They were in control. Very much a half-court game, and that's what Baylor expected. But, man, turnovers are the great equalizer. When you start turning it over, you give advantages to the other team. Look up, and you're down 17.
Brown's the third Bear to go to the line, and they are now 1 for 5.
Always something to work on.
Tied for the game high with 10 points, along with Cryer. Looking for that elusive 11th right here.
This guy is a really impressive player. I was going to say he's got a wow factor to him. You know, he worked his way to the free throw line just because of his ability to glide through the defense. And when you're doing that, defense doesn't anticipate where you're going as well. They're reaching and grabbing. He goes to the line.
I was talking to sports information director for Baylor, David Kay, and when talking about Kendall Brown, who we had that feature about at halftime, he says, look, he's a 5-star guy who acts, and he says this in the nicest possible way, acts like a 0-star guy in terms of if you were to bump into him, there's no ego. You wouldn't know it. He's going to show up and prove himself every game, every day.
Yeah, he had 9 assists in a game earlier this season, and this is from a guy that you would expect huge points from.
This is about as efficient as it gets. A turnover to a basket for Kinjo.
Well, we knew the Baylor defenders on the perimeter were going to put extreme pressure on the guards for Stanford, and it's really it's overwhelmed them, I think, and you can see that reflected in the turnover battle.
20-point lead for the defending national champions here at home. And Bonner trying to rip the roof off of this place if that had gone down.
Yeah, now Stanford's down 20, and they've got to be something that they're really not. They're going to have to shoot in a hurry. They're going to have to make some threes, and they just don't play from behind really well.
You know, they had some slow starts in ball games this year, Santa Clara, San Jose State, but we haven't seen a slow second half like this. And it has come at a poor time when Baylor really has found a rhythm with 3 different players in double-figure scoring.
Well, we said at the opening tap that Baylor was going to make Stanford really dribble the basketball. Stanford likes to go side to side till they can get a post touch. Still doing a little bit of that here, but if they're dribbling the basketball, they're not running their half-court offense. They've done a lot of dribbling today. It's allowed the Bears to force 16 turnovers. They now have 19 of their 51 off those turnovers. That's the difference in the game.
Aiden Dallaire gets to the free throw line a lot. Through the first 4 games, 26 free throws attempted. Just knocked down 16 of them. Has one more to attempt here.
Yeah, the Pac-12's most improved player a year ago. And you get the feeling he's the guy that's going to give them a chance if they've got one today.
Oh, misses the free throw, but Stanford's going to keep the possession.
Meyer about to come back into the game for Sohan. How about that?
Yeah, 3rd foul for Sohan as he comes off.
Yep. You know, Meyer and Sohan for Brown. Just fill in the blank. I mean, this team has got so much depth. It allows them to play at a more frenetic pace, which is what they want to do. If you're going to pull that off, you've got to be fresh, and with that depth, it can be.
Baylor a 3-on-1 break. It'll wind up with the flush from the big man, Jonathan Chachua.
Have applied pressure consistently. They've pressured every passing lane. But what they've really done, Lincoln, is just get up into those offensive players, particularly the guards for Stanford. And, you know, when that's happening, man, you're just trying to get the ball away somehow or to get in your half-court offense. And when you're dribbling, you're not running anything.
It's an 8-0 run for Baylor that Stanford's trying to put a halt to. And, again, the ball not bouncing their way. And you're wondering when those thumbs will finally go up. There they are.
Yep, scramble.
So we take a look at some of the numbers in the second half. Slightly less flattering for the team on your left.
You know, it says it all, really. I mean, they've just not been able to get shots. Clearly 0 for 6, and that's a product of not being able to get into an offensive rhythm because of all the turnovers. And I think that fast break point number is huge. Baylor with 12, Stanford with none. We didn't expect a lot. Oop, there it is. I just had to interrupt myself there. I saw that one coming. And the Bears now have just put it into another gear, Lincoln.
Pat Nunley coming after my job with the oop. There it is from the big man.
Didn't know what I was saying when I said it.
Such a natural. Inside and still can't find that field goal. I don't believe any saran wrap was put on that rim at halftime. Meyer. Still plenty of time on that shot clock for Baylor. L.J. Cryer pours in another 2.
Well, you know, he's got Reynaud pulled away from the basket. Reynaud at 7-1, Cryer at about 6'3". He said, I got to take advantage of this. Knew he'd be able to get a shot away, or if Reynaud came at him, go right around him. That was just a mismatch.
Game high 13 points. Stanford still looking for their first field goal of the second half. 9 minutes into the second period of play. Out to Meyer.
He's just trying to buy a bucket somehow, and he's got the luxury of a 58-31 lead, but he's trying to shoot himself out of a really early miniature slump. And sure would be good for him to see one go down.
Stanford
beautifully understands what it takes. He's been able to get coaches here, keep coaches here, and what a terrific job he's done.
And of course, Stanford always has one of the top athletic departments, men's and women's combined. Women's basketball started #1 before Texas knocked them off in a great early matchup between those two. And of course, volleyball typically is in the hunt for a title in the NCAA tournament. This men's basketball team trying to get back in that NCAA tournament. Of course, last time they won the national title, 1942. Don't believe we have footage on the ESPN app from that year.
I was there.
Super senior Pat Nunley.
What a play.
Everything going the way of the Baylor Bears. It's Kendall Brown pouring in another pair.
You know, those two guys just made that play look easy, and it really wasn't. I mean, you got two of the best. Akinjo Bears going to get the rebound. Up the floor it goes. Akinjo, couple of dribbles. He knows Brown is there, kicks it back to him. Brown has to catch it, land, and finish in traffic. What a play, though. I mean, what a joy to play with a guy like Akinjo. You know if you get your hands up and you make yourself a target and you cut to the basket, you're going to get the basketball when you need it.
No three-point play there, missed free throw. One of the few things Scott Drew can probably harp on after this one. That gives Akinjo a double-double. That was his 10th assist. And when you talk about point guards, Scott Drew has had no shortage of good ones. As, again, what a legacy. 10 of Scott Drew's 11 point guards in Waco have gone on to be all Big 12.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Lincoln. And I think what you take away from that is if you're going to win big at the college level, you've got to have guards, and we've had a bunch of them.
Won't go for Meyer. Rebound by Jones. 7th rebound for Spencer. Reynaud trying to force it in. And Jones with bright spots on both ends. The rebound and the bucket. And that's your first field goal. It comes under 10 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, says a lot for the Baylor defense. Bears are holding their opponents to 58 points a game in the first 3 games. And right now, Stanford's not even on pace to get that.
We play a fun game with our stat man, Daniel Ramirez, where he holds his breath until both teams have scored a field goal. And, well, Daniel, we look forward to having you back for the next one.
Somebody
well soon, buddy.
And now it is just target practice for L.J. Cryer. Caught that one. May have looked a little bit out of his range, but nothing but net.
Inside look, and all of a sudden it's an offensive renaissance for Stanford.
Yeah, the game's gotten a little looser than it was in the first half for sure. The Bears have controlled this one from the start of the second half. It was at a pace that Stanford could play with, but just the inability to take care of the basketball allowed the Bears to separate.
Won't go for Brown, and, well, an uncontested rebound slips away. Scott Drew has stuck to his 8-man rotation. I think most coaches in the country are envious that he already knows his 8. As he'll make a swap of 3 fresh bodies out there now.
Yeah, and you've got Adam Flagler to add to that mix. Didn't play today because of a hand injury that he's recovering from. Has played a little bit, but aggravated it a couple of games back. They decided to just let him sit this one out.
Got head coaches from Kansas and Butler. They destined to know a little something accidentally about basketball. Free throws coming up for Bonner. You're talking about Flagler, who today just a cheerleader.
He is, and I was talking to one of the coaches before the game about whether Flagler would play or not. Said he could, but his comment was, we can't win the Big 12 today, but we might be able to lose it today. And if you play Adam Flagler, you know, and he aggravates it or hurts it worse, and then we've got surgery or something to worry about, that really hurts your chances. So a smart play. I know Flagler's chomping at the bit to play, but this one really hasn't been the contest we thought it would be. So looking back, it was a nice decision.
Got the first 3 starts this season for the injury. Last year averaged 9 points off the bench. Dale Bonner making the most of his time off the bench. Again, the former Division II transfer. 8 minutes to go. As the Baylor lead up to 30. Largest lead in the first half was 7. Seven was the total number of points this half for Stanford until that bucket went down for Jones. And
at this stage of the game, I think what Stanford really is trying to do is just get better. I mean, you think about it, you're practicing against the defending national champ, as Sohan is knocked to the ground. You don't have many opportunities to do that, so they're just going to get better because of it. Playing the game in a very unselfish way, and there are just a lot of kids that have really bought into that, and that's helped.
Second chance opportunity. Bonner can't knock it down. Third time it'll go. Kendall Brown, again, preseason Big 12 freshman of the year, 15 points, second leading scorer behind L.J. Cryer.
Yeah, he just plays the game at a different pace. I mean, he's quicker to the ball. He's a little more tenacious. And Stanford has needed points from this guy, Ingram. They've just not been able to get them. That's the guy that Baylor clearly understood could change the game offensively, maybe the only one, and they have had a target on his back all day, and he has not been able to do what he's been accustomed to. He has just 4 points in the game, and that's 12 below his average.
Ingram is, again, going to spearhead a lot of great talent over the next few years coming into Stanford, promising recruiting classes for Jared Haas. And he's a coach. We mentioned over 300 Division I programs this year took in at least one transfer. Of all the Power 5 schools, only a handful did not this year. Stanford's among them. They haven't done it in a decade, but he's found ways to build with four-year guys who are going to be there for you. And then you sprinkle in some NBA lottery picks as well.
Yeah, and he talks a lot about culture. They want to build a culture that does take a little bit of time. They've got to play together, and you don't really do that with transfers. Now, the Bears had transfers last year, had an incredible culture, but those transfers were in the program for 3 or 4 years. Some of them, Mark Vidal's case, 5.
Turnover by Baylor. And final 7 minutes here. And out of bounds. Gives us a chance to give a nod to our officials today. Doug Sermon's heading up the crew of Chris Raffstadter along with Michael Greenstein.
You know, they've done a good job when at the end of the game you kind of forget who they were. And you don't remember much of anything that happened. Now, this was a blowout, but these guys have done a very nice job. Back to normal. Talked to one of them, Sermons, before the game. Just nice for them to be doing what they do with full crowds and the freedom to move around. Not all the testing that we've all had to go through over the last year. So I'm hoping, Lincoln, we're back to normal, whatever normal is these days.
Well, Baylor is hoping national championship contention is normal.
Yes,
and,
very much so.
And you talk to them and they look at this non-conference schedule and says, we'll be better in March than we are in November. Well, already off to a pretty good start here in November.
Pretty good, and the plot will thicken. I mean, going to the battle for Atlantis next week, starting with Arizona State, chance to maybe play Michigan State.
Meyer fighting shoulder to shoulder. Baylor 38 straight weeks in the top 25. Only Gonzaga and Villanova have had better runs in the top 25. Mentioned last time these two teams met, the 1988 Maui Classic.
Yeah, a long time ago. And first time Stanford has been here. You see Baylor's upcoming schedule. A couple of highlights there. Villanova here on December the 12th. That's a Sunday afternoon game. At Oregon on December the 28th. And then, a couple of days later, Bears go to Iowa State to open Big 12 conference play. And the gauntlet begins.
Meyer able to tie things up. It'll send us the other way, and actually may have gotten Meyer a little late there.
Now, this was a team that was really excited to play today. I'm talking about Baylor. I think Stanford's in that same category, but coaches were talking about how it was just a different vibe in the locker room. It's a game that was going to be played at a higher level. It's Big 12, Pac-12, and you see the results of it. This is not, Lincoln, what I expected, but really, if you sum it up, Stanford not able to handle Baylor's defensive pressure and just not able to get into any sort of offensive flow, and they have 38 points with 6:13 to go in the game to show for it.
8 points, 8 rebounds for Jones. So he goes 1 for 2 at the line. Kinjo already a double-double today. Wide open, Brown decides he'll take some time off the clock. Meyer, like a running back, hitting that A-gap. Brought some contact, and instead of the end zone, he's going to the free throw line.
That's exactly what it was. And
we didn't point it out, but there's a football team out of Waco that's pretty good, too, in the top 25.
That's a pretty good one today as well. That's a tough one.
They just don't fit inside the Farrell Center on game day. They're up in Manhattan against K-State.
That's right, but I promise you, virtually everybody in this arena will be watching that football game remotely today, obviously. But what a great position to be in. And I know Coach Aranda talks about play one and don't think about the next one. I fight that off, and I can't say that's a winning battle for me.
These are not the only Bears Stanford will see today. They have a football game against Cal coming up. Basically, we're part of a doubleheader. I would say we're the matinee, but we were at best brunch for the folks on the West Coast tuning in for this one. largest discrepancy on the scoreboard today, right now at 32.
Another steal, Akinjo. Baylor just really ahead of the game, really ahead of Stanford. They have been from the get-go.
Well, 4 of the 5 Bears touched the ball on that break down the court. Chamwa Chachua will go to the line looking for that elusive free throw.
We talked a lot about chemistry and the ability to build it in the preseason. You know, if one strong indication of chemistry, whether you have it or not, is assist, I'd say the Bears are way ahead of the game in terms of building chemistry with some new guys. They have 17 assists today on 29 made buckets. So coming in to the game well above a 20 assist a game average. Probably going to get up above 20 today. But that says a lot.
3-point play for Jonathan gives him 9 points to go with his 7 boards. He was 4 for 4 from the floor today. A lot of that merited your trademark call. Some alley-oops. A nice confident stroke for Stanford's Brandon Angel.
Yeah, that's not a shot that was available to Stanford in the first half. Now that the game is loosened up a little bit, they've gotten some looks they didn't have.
Poor young man had to go to Torrey Pines High School in San Diego.
Sorry.
5 minutes to go. Bonner putting in some quality minutes tonight. 6 points for Bonner off the bench.
You know, and most of those threes from Baylor have been from the inside out. You think of threes as being the indication of an outside kind of approach to the game. But like that one, Meyer assisted it from the low post or in the lane to the outside. First look many times when there's a ball down there, whether it's on the pass or an offensive rebound, is to the perimeter. And when that's where your threes are coming from, you're going to shoot a really high percentage.
Jones with the bucket, 2 rebounds shy of a double-double. Joins Delaire with 10 points for the team high for Stanford. 10 on the shot clock. And stepping out of bounds, Baylor will give it back over to a Stanford team that's made 5 of its last 6 shots, but just got off to too slow of a start here in the second half to put up a fight.
Yeah, Baylor bringing 3 guys in, 3 fresh guys of the 5 that are on the floor. And Stanford, again, is overwhelmed by that. I mean, Baylor has played on the defensive end at a blistering pace. I mean, it has been relentless from the opening tap, and that's ultimately how these two teams got separated. Bears' ability to get steals, force turnovers, and score off of those.
Jordan Turner seeing his first minutes for Baylor today. Went to the same high school up in Kansas, Sunrise Christian, as Kendall Brown, the freshman.
Just in all that length. Particular, Stanford was just overwhelmed by that, had no answer for it.
Over the last 2+ seasons, by the way, Baylor, when they have a lead at any point in the second half, they're 57-4. Looks like they're going to improve to 58-4.
That's unbelievable. It really is. They know how to protect the lead.
Shot clock midway down. Bears have found a lot of success in the paint. Jordan Turner trying to find his first 3-pointer of the season.
You know, we've talked about the Baylor staple, or a Baylor staple, has been its defense over the last couple of years, and they take great pride in that. Right now, opponents are scoring only 58 points a game against the Bears, and Stanford's struggling to get to 50 with 3:17 to play. This has just been unbelievable defense. Talk about relentless.
Right on cue, Pat Nunley. And Bonner will share the rock. Free throw coming up. Stanford's going to head home to try to right the ship on Tuesday against North Carolina A&T out of the MEAC, and then right into conference play. It's a 20-game Pac-12 schedule this year, so they go to Boulder on Sunday, 8 days from today, to begin the 2021-2022 conference slate.
You know, I would suspect Coach Haas would say we need a little more time than that, because this is not what he wanted today. It revealed some things. I mean, ball handlers have got to figure out how to break defenses down.
Zach Loveday will come on for Baylor for the first time. Loveday, sophomore, out of Ohio, went to high school in West Virginia. His 4th appearance off the bench this season.
You know, he's every bit of 7'1". He's a lefty, so he's hard to guard. and he's very skilled, getting himself positioned to make a difference. Might be a year away, but ultimately he's going to be a very good Big 12 player. Needs some time like he's getting here to finish this game.
An open look. So Scott Drew on his roster this year has 2 Loves and a Love Day, and you're wondering, his recruiting director, whether he's just going through the phone book.
It's a love fest.
It will be as soon as they have them all healthy. Langston Love, the standout freshman from Montverde Academy, reunited this year with his brother, who has recently joined the team, going from a graduate assistant to actually suiting up once again. And Kijana Love, most recently played in Division II down in Austin with St. Edwards. A long look from Turner. Wow.
On the assist from Sohan. Again, inside out, not outside in. When you're just catching it and shooting it on the pass from the lane or the low block, just a lot easier.
First triple on the season for Turner. Sohan will bring it up. 2 minutes to go here in regulation. Just trying to thread the needle. It'll stay here with Baylor. Well, it was a tight first half. You take a look at how things slipped away. These numbers are just from second half when the two teams reemerged from the locker room.
Yeah, well, you can see the obvious difference points, but look at the number of shots, the field goals attempted, Baylor to Stanford. Been a big difference, and a lot of that was just because Bears have been able to get offensive rebounds, and Stanford has been badly bitten by the turnover bug. They have 22 turnovers on the game. Bears with 28 of their 83 off those turnovers. You just can't win.
LJ Cryer with a long 2. Baylor on a 7-0 run. Cryer with 18 for the game high. One of 4 Bears in double-digit scoring. Long rebound. Takes it to the hole. Can't get it to go. This is not a satiated group of Bears looking for more. Cryer on a bit of a run of his own. He's got 21.
And it is a shooting exhibition now for Cryer. It's what he does best, and he does not hesitate to pull the trigger. This guy scored 34 points a game as a high school senior.
And an answer from Noah Tates on the other end. Yeah, for Cryer, it's his 3rd straight ball game now with 20 points. It's his first time to do it, and his first ever game as a starter now.
Yeah, well, he learned from the 3 best guards in the country a year ago, and he needed to advance. I mean, he certainly could play offense at a Big 12 level, but he needed to figure out what the defensive game was all about. He's added that dimension to his game, and boy, look what happened.
Cryer's day likely done. Kijana Love has come into the ball game. There is Love as he will let Silva go by. Love didn't want his first entry in the box score to be a personal foul.
Yeah, he's smart. Backed off. What difference does it make?
How new is Love? They haven't put the name on the back of his uniform yet. The other night he wore his brother's uniform.
Right, he decided to walk on. He went from manager to walk on November the 17th and suited up that night.
Good gig if you can get it. Kijana, the older brother of Langston Love, a freshman missing this year, 4-star recruit. Shot clock is off. Stanford can take the final shot. 3rd ever meeting between the two teams. First time they collide in Waco. And it wound up all Baylor. Number 9 Bears are going to improve to 4-0 to kick off this title defense. Not out of the hand in time. Final score.